Hi everybody, Richard Tromans here again, Artificial Lawyer TV. Today we're doing a special product walkthrough. This time we're looking at vLex and their new spring release. They have a whole bunch of features, and to tell us a little bit more about it is Ed and Alex, but we'll start with Ed. Could you introduce what we're going to see now?
Sure. I'm Ed Walters. I'm the co-founder of Fastcase and the Chief Strategy Officer of vLex. This is Alex Schaefer, who is the product manager for Vincent AI. And what we're announcing today is the spring 2025 release of Vincent AI, the platform for legal AI workflows. Alex, do you want to show us what's in the box?
Absolutely. So today we're going to walk through 4 different components. The first of which is going to be tables, which is our large-scale document review workflow that will take collections to the next level. Then we're going to discuss General Assist and some of the other under-the-hood improvements, moving into some of the model upgrades that we've completed and discussing our workflow engine. And then we're going to wrap things out with a showcase of Studio, where it is in its current iteration of beta release, and how some leading law firms and corporate organizations are utilizing it. So starting with tables. Tables are a new method of exploring collections, which are large groups of documents inside of Vincent. Tables can be generated from a blank template where you're able to enter your own questions and parameters for the interrogation of a document set, or you can utilize Vincent to create table templates for you. Finally, there's also a number of pre-made table templates, and you can save them as a user as well. So if I wanted to review a set of terms of service agreements, I can ask Vincent to help me out with this. And Vincent will go ahead and generate the structure of a table, with each column being a new question that will be asked across the data set, and each row being the underlying documents themselves, showing us where the information lies. So if I jump a tab over, we can see where I pre-baked a review of terms of service from leading tech providers. We now see Google, AWS, Apple, NVIDIA, and so on. And for each of these columns, we'll have the company name, effective dates, controlling jurisdictions, user eligibility requirements, and so on, where Vincent is going through each of the relevant documents and sourcing this information. Tables are able to be browsed in full screen. There are full references to the underlying documents available in these cells, and you're able to actually open up the underlying documents and see highlighted text over the relevant portions as well. All of these columns can be edited, filtered, and sorted so that you can re-ask questions, you can find extractive data, then quickly isolate documents that have certain characteristics over others. Finally, this all takes place inside of a Vincent conversation. So if you want to take the tabular export and turn it into an email to send to a client, or to redraft components by providing commands to Vincent to add additional columns, that's all going to be possible here as well. So a new way to review large-scale document sets or perform in-depth review of documents, all inside of Vincent's conversational interface, backed by the vLex legal library of data.
Alex, if I could just add here, I want to point out these cross-references here are very reflective of vLex and Vincent's approach to legal AI. One of the biggest problems you see with legal AI is hallucinations or things that are made up, which is why Vincent really endeavors to ground its analysis in primary sources or the documents that you're using. And this transparency is essential for legal work. I think it should be a requirement. And so, where we are pulling this information out, you can ground it in the document itself, just like in research products, being able to ground that research in real law and have the transparency to see it for yourself. This is a real strength of Vincent AI.
Awesome. And moving on from tabular review, you'll notice that with this conversational follow-up, there's going to be a number of general improvements to how you're able to interact with Vincent from a conversational perspective. So a number of those agreements that we just looked at are considered to be shrink wrap or browse wrap agreements. So conventionally, inside of Vincent, if I were to use freeform entry or in a conversational follow-up and ask a question, such as what is a shrink wrap agreement, I would expect Vincent to launch into a full legal research prompt. Now, that's helpful in some instances, but in others where I'm just asking for general information, maybe that's not as helpful. So what we're seeing here now is the second component that we're talking about today, general assist capabilities. This is where Vincent's able to utilize the training data and prowess of language models for general productivity tasks and general information to answer questions without needing to launch into full research across the vLex database. Now, in these answers, you'll see that if there's cited authority, Vincent's going to highlight that these are authorities coming from the underlying model and not from full research. And Vincent will always ask as well if you would like to conduct full research. So now if I say perform full research into this question, Vincent's going to be able to carry on the conversation and convert this into a proper research query, looking across the vLex database for the relevant authorities. So a really great way to find quick insights and quick answers, combine that with full research, and also to perform the kinds of general tasks that would conventionally require you to move a few tabs over to other LLMs to conduct those tasks, but all with the benefit of Vincent security inside of the same environment and with zero data retention for the prompts reaching the end models.
So Alex, this is the kind of thing that some lawyers might run in like ChatGPT or one of the foundation models in an insecure way. And this provides them the kind of general assist mode, provides them a secure SOC 2 type 2 protected environment where they can ask those kinds of questions, but like a lawyer would instead of like a consumer.
Exactly that. And you can even take advantage of those consumer things as well. I've found myself having Vincent open and not needing to navigate away to ask for help with prompting, to ask for help with prioritizing tasks I have on my daily schedule. So really helpful to have it all in the same locale. The other improvements I want to move into now are some under the hood improvements, and those are going to relate to the models that we're utilizing to power Vincent and also the workflow engine. So starting with the underlying models, perhaps the most night and day showcase of the difference can be found in how we are generating research output. So here I've gone ahead and asked a more detailed question into those shrink wrap licenses, and we can see I have an answer from a compare jurisdictions. And this compare jurisdictions workflow still utilizes our previous approach to research, where we're generating those reliable but relatively lightweight answers with a short response, an explanation of relevant legal authorities, and then a section highlighting exceptions and limitations related to the question, letting us know those but ifs or if thens that we need to continue exploring. And then compare jurisdictions, this makes sense because we're often running research queries across dozens, if not more, of jurisdictions, whether they're domestic and all inside of the US with a 50-state survey, or if we're going international and searching across the entirety of the vLex global content. But point being, relatively lightweight answers. These have been the state of Vincent for about the past year. Over this last quarter, we went ahead and upgraded our models so that we're getting much more detail into individual research questions. So here's the same exact question across the same exact jurisdictional selection, but we'll now see that the answer isn't just a short response, quick explanation of case law, and exceptions and limitations. We're benefiting from that short response still, give us the bottom line up front, a summary providing a little bit more detail, but then we're launching into a tremendous upgrade in depth and detail. So now we're going into background, highlighting the different types of online agreements, being click wrap, browse wrap, sign in wrap, scroll wrap, and so on, all with linked authorities to underlying cases inside of the vLex database. And it's not just going into an explanation of those individual materials, but we're going into the legal framework as well, highlighting things like design features of enforceable agreements versus unenforceable agreements. So conspicuous notice, placement in proximity, transactional context, the unambiguous manifestation of assent, and so on, all the way down to that familiar conclusion section where we're bringing all this information together. So same exact process where information is found from the legal library and used and analyzed at scale to generate an answer. What's changed here is that through the models and general improvements to our prompting and process, we're now generating something that is almost rivaling a chapter of a treatise in 5 minutes or so of Vincent's processing and research. Awesome. The other capability that has been added to the platform over the past quarter is the workflow engine. And the workflow engine is how vLex is approaching agentic AI applications, where we are allowing models, cutting edge models, to utilize the reasoning capabilities that they are renowned for, but doing so with some guidance and structure where there are agentic decisions being made at various points of a decision tree, but we are keeping this within the best processes that apply to the kinds of workflows that attorneys are completing, such as drafting, such as more onerous document reviews and argument generation, things like that. Okay.
Alex, if you wouldn't mind, in going back to the Vincent home screen, so you'll see that there are something like 25 different workflow tools on the platform in Vincent. Each one of these uses a bunch of different AI applications behind the scenes. And so there is this toolbox inside of Vincent of AI applications that are combined to help make these different workflows. What makes this workflow engine so interesting is it's agentic. It does reasoning about what is being asked, and on the fly figures out which of these tools to employ in what order to help create an answer. So in addition to these very structured workflows, you have this agentic workflow where there is some reasoning behind the scenes to figure out what tools in what order help answer the question the best.
That's exactly right. And that's how we saw earlier that Vincent utilized the simple answer to my clip-wrap agreement question before launching into the more detailed answer with the research, all inside of the same conversation, all through Vincent detecting my intent based on what I'm requesting.
Which might be a good segue to Vincent Studio.
Absolutely. So the last item we wanted to cover today is a touch point on our progress with Studio. So folks that have been following along since the winter release saw mention that we were going to launch Studio in beta over the past quarter, and we now have. Studio's tires are being kicked metaphorically by a number of existing subscriber law firms and corporate organizations. And Studio today is now live in app as we move towards a more generalized release. So you'll notice that in these workflow tiles on my main screen, there's one here that may not be available on your instance of Vincent. And that's this deposition preparation workflow. And that's because this workflow was created by me in advance of today's presentation to showcase Studio. So like any other workflow, it will have the same general capabilities with titling, description, text, allowing me to specify documents that I'm uploading, things like that. But where it's differing is the prompting that's going in behind the scenes. So as a vLex employee and someone on the product team, I have access to a publisher seat within our Studio account. So publishers are able to create workflows that are able to accomplish anything that takes advantage of Vincent's existing tools that Ed has just covered, or general document analysis and prompting to create tools that don't presently exist inside of Vincent yet. So now I'm uploading a few documents here, and we'll see a number of tasks recommended after Vincent finishes processing these. I'm now realizing I'm uploading several large-scale depositions, maybe not the speediest for a demonstration, but each of these tasks that Vincent's now recommending have been created by me over the past 2 days to showcase Studio. So document analysis and cataloging, inconsistency detection, strategic deposition planning, outline generation, and question development. And just like everything else in Vincent, as a user, I'm able to add my own questions or instructions to follow up. And so I'll go ahead and launch into this, and we'll see Vincent begin to generate output in this conversational format that's going to be backed by the full research library of vLex, but utilizing unique processes that I implemented. Now, the idea
Alex, may I add just a thing or two here? So Vincent Studio allows cutting-edge law firms or legal departments to create their own AI apps inside of Vincent AI. And they can use the tools that we've built internally. They can use the vLex database if they want to, but they can create their own AI apps. And it's a no-code environment, so it doesn't require you to be a software developer. It is just a questionnaire, and in plain language, it will walk creators through that process so that they can create their own apps of many different kinds. And those apps will then show up in their Vincent AI dashboard, extremely powerful. So this is the Maker Lab we talked about in the Winter 25 release that allows law firms and corporate legal departments to create their own tools, leveraging their data and the vLex database and the Vincent AI set of tools to create their own proprietary workflows inside of Vincent. It's really cool.
Absolutely. And to Ed's assurances, I can barely get a command prompt to say hello world. So if you are not a coder or not technologically savvy, no worries. You really don't need to be to create really powerful workflows inside of Vincent using Studio. So it's as easy as following the general setup process where you'll enter a name, description, and tags. Then you provide global prompting, individual prompts, and how you want users to interact with this workflow. So basically, all it takes is some legal expertise and a really good idea to create scalable processes that can be launched to the entire organization or to select users inside of the organization. So really great way to scale those operational advantages that might be unique to your firm or organization at scale. Kind of in the way that we used to by utilizing API feeds, now in a no-code environment that is allowing you to do so in minutes rather than hours or days or weeks.
This is really in the DNA of vLex, and I would say Fastcase before it, really building tools to empower makers, to set up that maker space, these playgrounds, these places where you have rich data sources and you can build these great ideas that you have without hiring software developers. And this is a no-code environment where makers can build extraordinary AI apps.
Awesome. And that culminates the capabilities that we wanted to discuss inside of the spring 2025 release, cataloging the work that we've done over the last quarter.
Alex, if I can just ice that cake a little bit, this is all live. So I think there's a lot of companies right now who are announcing aspirational AI releases. This is what we plan to do at some point in the future, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I would just say with vLex and Vincent AI, our approach is almost the exact opposite. We build and we launch and then we announce. And so this is not vaporware. This is all existing software in Vincent AI right now. You can use these tools today.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks, Alex. And yeah, very interesting. And clearly, it's strongly recommended for people to get in there and dig in and experiment with this, isn't it? Which leads to a couple of quick questions at the end here. For people who don't have vLex yet, or perhaps people who do have part of vLex but don't have necessarily or haven't used these new features yet, how does that work? If you're already a vLex subscriber, do you just get all of this, or how? And if you're not one yet, but you would particularly like certain aspects of vLex, how does that work? Can you have like little modules, or do you get everything?
Yeah, so there's two main subscriptions. There's the vLex library subscription, and that's just to the content. So if you wanted to use vLex just as a standard legal research tool, where you're able to run conventional Boolean searches, track cases, things like that, you would be able to do so as well. And then there's Vincent AI, which is a separate subscription, which gives you Vincent and all the different workflows that we've covered so far. The only capability that is likely to be distinct from that would be Studio, which is kind of enterprise specific by virtue of how it's scaling workflows writ large throughout the organization. But that is, kind of nearing the end of its beta cycle. So we'll have more announcements as to the final implementation there. But things like Tabular Review, the model upgrades, General Assist, and all the other workflows that we're coming out with are intended to be available to existing Vincent subscribers. We just want the product to continue being more useful to more people so that you can, get more out of your Vincent use day in and day out.
Fantastic. And in terms of jurisdictions and sort of global markets, I mean, obviously there's a strong connection with the US here, but people watching this in other countries, in Canada, the UK, etc., can they all use it as well?
Absolutely. So there's the document analysis type workflows available in Vincent that are really going to be able to ingest any type of content. I've ran a full audio recording of a legislative session in Germany through Vincent and been able to analyze and extract insights. But for the research components, we don't have all of the vLex library brought into Vincent yet. What you're seeing on the screen here, US, UK, Spain, Ireland, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, New Zealand, Mexico, Singapore, Hong Kong, EU, Brazil, Portugal, France, and Italy is where we're at right now in terms of the research content that Vincent's tapping into. We expect this to continue growing to kind of reflect the entirety of the Vincent content collection, the vLex content collection, and then also to continue expanding that content to collection as well writ large. So tons there globally right now, and we expect there to be even more in the future.
Fantastic.
And localized. So you're seeing Alex and I are Americans, so we're running US English, but the King's English is also represented if you are a UK user. And if you speak Spanish or Catalan or Italian or French, Portuguese, all of those are represented here. So in a way, vLex is like, one of the first AI legal tools in many of these jurisdictions in Mexico, in Portugal, and other countries. And so it's a global tool, and it's all under one roof. You don't have to log out of the US and log into the UK product.
Fantastic. Well, there's a lot there, and if you've got to this point in the video, I'd probably suggest either rewatching or getting in touch with vLex to learn a bit more, but that's all we have time for. So thank you, Alex, and thank you, Ed, and I'm looking forward to the summer release already. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Richard.